On July 30th, 2025, popular YouTuber and former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas was arrested in Los Angeles in connection with a federal indictment alleging he ran an illegal high-stakes poker gambling business. And the bad thing about it was inside of a home that he was renting.
Damn!
And inside of this illegal poker place was a name, Gil's Arena. And then Gilbert Arenas would somehow find his way onto YouTube. But he wasn't coming onto YouTube to make content. He was actually on YouTube beefing with Kwame Brown.
Cell phone. I didn't know nothing about like webcam, StreamYard. I had to learn all of that because I only came to YouTube because I was beefing with him. So when I came up with the show idea of like ESPN style, because I'm learning as I go. So I had this channel. I know Matt Barnes. They got all the smoke, right? But they're on Showtime, so they have infrastructure.
Now, this is actually true. I mean, Gilbert Arenas was just on here, like going back and forth, roasting people. I mean, he's a very, very funny. In fact, he's like hella funny. He's probably the funniest athlete that's on YouTube.
No matter how you look, if you go to the club, you point out 10 bad ones. You use the same line on all 10. Just to be like, hey, you want fun? One will say, that was bold, and give you a minute.
Got him!
But if you're gonna be on YouTube talking trash all day, and if you're Gilbert Arenas, you might as well go ahead and make some money. And that's exactly what he did. Gilbert Arenas, along with some other people, Gil's Arena has a few ex-NBA greats, such as Brandon Jennings, Rashad McCants. You'll see Nick Young on there, and many others, but also Kenyon Martin Sr., right? And that's important to note, because at a certain point with this podcast, going viral and being very good, it ended up getting bought out. And basically, I believe like Gilbert Arenas sold the podcast for like 50% to a betting company. And he explains why.
The reason I gave up equity is because, so I used to do this in the weed. So I started in the weed game, right? I was the landlord. What I would do is I will have one of these growers come in.
Wow.
Right? They build the infrastructure. They build the system, right? Mm-hmm. They build these elaborate systems. I let them get 2 crops in, and then I kick them out. Now I have the infrastructure, and then I take over the business. That was the same concept here. Let them come in here, build the studio, build all the equipment, do everything that's here. Mm-hmm. We got 2 years. Once it's over with, I got the infrastructure.
The show was sold to Underdog Fantasy, and what Gilbert Arenas is explaining is, listen, I'm selling it for 50% for now, and I'm gonna let them do all the production and build the business, and then after which I'll reclaim the show again. Now, he is online with very popular people. He's online with Kwame Brown, an ex-enemy and ex-teammate of his. And then there's Anton Daniels, who is no stranger to controversy himself. And so Anton Daniels can't understand why Gilbert Arenas would actually sell a show that is so profitable and that is so great. And he says this.
On the live stream, you said that when you got arrested, that's when they took the name from you because your name was no longer good in their eyes when it comes to promoting the product and being aligned with the brand.
Yes, that's what I said.
My expectation of you is higher because I don't look at you. I know you a contributor on the show, but I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't look at you in the same vein that I look at the rest of the niggas that's on the show. Mm-hmm. Because you the brain, right? You the brain. Without you, none of them motherfuckers exist in my mind. There's plenty of niggas that start a basketball podcast that ain't popping at all. That shit is trash. Let's just keep it 100.
Woo! Now notice after Anton Daniels, talks about this, Gilbert Arenas is not trying to disagree with him. He's not saying anything about the people on the show. He's not trying to defend the people on the show. He's just basically saying, listen, yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying, because largely he's indifferent, meaning that he's not coming to the defense of anybody on his show. And this is interesting. And I do understand where Anton Daniels is coming from, because yes, a lot of the basketball podcasts do flop. A lot of YouTube channels and podcasts flop in general, regardless of the person's experience, because just because you're good, at basketball and you are a person that, was on the team and on the roster, it doesn't mean that you can understand how to adjust to the day-to-day life of being on YouTube or being a content creator. But Kenyon Martin did not take kindly of those criticisms at all. And he addressed Anton Daniels directly.
Yeah, like he just like y'all chatting and this, that, and the third, and we just kept straight, like on the calling nobodies and shit like that, bro. Like, nah, like that ain't more than a nobody. He was praising you for being who you are, and in the same breath, gonna be like, yeah, when them other dudes on the shows and nobody, they be nobody without you. Nobody. I think I'm been somebody for a long time now.
Shout out Jesse J.
Not low. Whoever
that was what you said with Kwame.
Yeah. The dude, I don't know his name, so obviously he's a nobody.
Now, this is interesting, man. Like Kenyon Martin, who obviously is polarizing himself. I mean, I love Kenyon Martin. These guys are bringing experiences to the podcast that we wouldn't know. And again, I understand what Anton Daniels is trying to say, because without you, those other guys are trash, are no talent. But the reality is that people serve purposes on podcasts. Some people are not supposed to be the main person in the podcast. Some people just fill in. Some people are more mic heavy. Some people, just keep the show going. And like I said, you have a main person, but without those other people on the podcast, it's not interactive. It's not fun. People typically bring up different points. But then in this, I noticed one thing. Nobody remembered Anton Daniels' name.
Woo!
So Kenyon Martin is saying, who's this guy you're talking to? Gilbert Arenas is even acting like he doesn't know Anton. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody knows Anton. Now, Anton Daniels, to his credit, has over 1 million followers. Again, he works very hard. And at this point, you would think that you should know somebody like that. But what they're trying to act like is that they don't, because you're trying to act like somebody is a bum who was the National College Player of the Year and an NBA All-Star in their career. Yeah, that is actually crazy, and I get that. But we are talking about different things. Here's what I want to say, though. In the case of what Anton is saying, it's a podcast. A guy like Kenyon Martin ain't looking at it like that. And we do, as YouTubers, have to understand something. What we do on YouTube is not necessarily what is happening in the real world. And whether we like it or not, there are people very much valuable as an insider, very much valuable to everything else without views attached. All right? Like, I know guys like that all the time. Some of the guys who really make things pop, there are guys who make things pop in the industries that don't have YouTube channels. They don't do anything. And to say that somebody like Kenyon Martin and Brandon Jacobs, those dudes are trash, I mean, it's discounting their experience, because none of us have been in the NBA, right? None of us have been in the NBA. And then the platform that Gilbert Arenas has allowed to be there allows them to speak freely. And again, don't get me wrong, guys in the league or in the NBA are talking about things, or who were in the NBA, are talking about things more freely. But you have to be able to be in the NBA to even understand what freely actually means. For an example, if something comes out about an NBA player, Kenyon Martin, all right, for example, I have to wait until the story drops. Once the story then drops, I have to go and do the research on the story, and then I have to really dig in from actually what happened. But I don't have any real insider access, okay, as to what's really happening. So, I have to research what I can, put the video out. But you have guys who have played in the NBA for 15 years. I mean, guys who are still connected, guys who are doing something. So to call those guys trash is something else. And then for Gilbert Arenas to play Anton like that, as if Anton was a nobody, was also trash. I'm gonna say that, like, you're on the podcast with the dude. He comes up, you're sitting there talking to the dude online. All of a sudden, you don't know the guy's name anymore, okay? And then when Anton is checking you about the other guys on the podcast, you're not protecting your guys that's on the podcast, which would make them feel a certain way. And what that tells me is Gilbert Arenas is not a solid guy. He's just not. And you have those dudes like that, they show you every time that you can't trust them and they're not loyal. First of all, if I'm on a podcast with somebody and you tell me, oh yeah, that podcast is only lit because you there, the rest of them dudes is trash. Even if I feel like they trash, hold on, bro. Nah, man, the people on my podcast not trash, bro. I mean, I thank you for appreciating me, but nah, you're not supposed to talk about the people on my podcast because that's not legit. You're supposed to come out and defend your people because they the ones helping you get money every day. Without them people on the podcast every day or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You might not have that same situation going on. And then to flip around and act like you don't know Anton 5 minutes later, like, oh, what's his name? What's his face? Oh, when you get in front of Kenyon Martin, that's high-siding. That's really dusty. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just foul. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's foul to be honest, and that's hella fake. That's fake as hell. And if you got people like that, that'll throw you under the bus, because see, a lot of times what cats say to you is one thing, but what they not saying. Like when somebody got an opportunity to come to your back and stand up for you and they don't, like that's fake. That's fake. Especially if you go in the bat together every day. Like every single day. We talking about this, we go in the bat, you my guy. And imagine like, you know, Kenyon Martin, he's a real straight shooter kind of dude. You know what I mean? Imagine he got certain people at his house, you know, Gilbert Arenas, know his wife, know his kids, you know, y'all done spent time together doing certain things. And then this is how you acting with somebody you don't even know you? Like Anton is a foreigner to the NBA. I'm a foreigner to the NBA. Like I shouldn't be able to disrespect nobody on your cast, all right? And it should be okay with you. I should never be able to do that, especially somebody that don't know you. I'm on a live stream. It'd have been easy for Gilbert Arenas to be like, Negro, who is you? Oh, don't run your mouth. You are nobody. Like it'd have been easy for him to do that. And then Anton Daniels wouldn't have had much to say. Like he would have had like, yo, I'm sorry. It would have put Anton in a position to be checked, but you didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And again, y'all gotta watch out for dudes like that because I'm telling you, anytime them be the same dudes that if somebody say something behind your back and they come and say, bruh said it, he did say it. Because the way he acting right now, that passive aggressive type of stuff, he talking about you behind your back. Want to know how your girl know certain things about you, whether it's true or not? Somebody like that dude. I guarantee you. Happens all the time. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy Oshay Dude Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all you do, Bell. We're out.